Hi, I'm Christine Marie Chen, also known as Bay Area Knitter on Twitter and Instagram. And this is my second episode. I'm just getting things started, so bear with me. It's a little hard getting used to talking into the camera and not having someone here to talk to. My last episode, which was actually my first episode, was with my friend Lorna Miser. She's also a designer, and she's been my mentor. She's been such a great friend. Thank you, Lorna. And thank you for being my guinea pig and getting me through that first episode. It kind of helped break the ice and got me a little more comfortable. Although this episode I'm alone and it's going to be a little different. I've taken notes to see if I can get through having something to talk about. Not having anybody here to respond to or ask questions is a little odd. But anyway, to get things rolling, I did make notes, and I think the first topic we'll talk about would be the home front happenings, what's going on in and about home around here. Actually, it's the last week of school and the kids have one more day. This week has been pretty chaotic and hectic. We were running late for school Monday and Tuesday, and today we made it on time, but you know, it's just that last week everybody's a little antsy, you know, tired of school, want to get out for the summer. Everything's going on. They have field trips, activities at school. Friday was field day, so I spent the whole day at school with the kids doing outdoor activities, you know, just having fun. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Just, you know, I'm ready for summer. This week, Monday, which was a couple days ago, Caitlin's class had a field trip at Golfland. So I did volunteer for that, and it was about 4 hours of the kids playing golf, doing water activities. They had a huge water slide, which I think Caitlin did all day. I don't think she actually played golf at all. I think she just enjoyed the water and trying to stay cool, because it did get up to about 103 degrees, which was really hot. Actually too hot for me. I sat there for about 4 hours under a canopy, but it started getting pretty bad. You know, I'm glad I had some water with me. I had my knitting with me. Yeah. But anyway, then yesterday, as some of you know that follow me on Instagram, I have a chinchilla. Caitlin's claims it, actually. It's Caitlin's chinchilla, but we share him. His name's Chili, and Caitlin was allowed to bring him to her class to show her friends. This was the second time, but she asked if she could bring him in one more time before the end of the school year. So we took Chili to school, and he had fun, or she had fun. I don't know if he did. All the hands, you know, reaching for him. He's kind of shy, but he got through it. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see a little photo I took of Caitlin where she had Chili on her shoulder. I was behind her. You know, it's a precious photo. But anyway, so today, let's see. Today it was supposed to rain. Hasn't started yet. It has cooled off, which is nice. And tomorrow is the last day of school. So we've just, you know, I've just kind of been frazzled. So I figured I would try to get the last episode in before the kids get home from school and before they're off for the summer. It's going to be interesting. We'll see how often I can post, you know, to YouTube, or I'm actually going to try to get this on iTunes as well. I know there's several of you that wanted to see it on iTunes, so I'm working on that. I just don't know how long it's going to take, but hopefully it'll be soon. And hopefully I'll be able to keep doing this on a weekly basis. That's what I'm planning. We'll see how it goes when the kids are home. So I would also like to thank someone for the little nudge they gave me, Dawn of Wolf Farms podcast. She actually has a farm, Wolf Farms. Uh, she gave me a little nudge a couple weeks ago on her podcast that was the little nudge I needed to get going and get this rolling. I'd been talking about doing a podcast for a long time and just never really did it. But sometimes you just have to take that step and do it. I mean, there's no perfect time, I guess. You know, I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I just figured I'd go with the flow, keep it real. I'm not going to do any editing, so what you see is what you get. It may be a little funny sometimes, we'll see. I'm actually hoping to have some more guests, which will make it easier on me. I'll have somebody else to talk to. So if you're here in San Jose and local and you're a knitter, contact me and maybe we can get together and just do a podcast together so we can chit chat. I have a couple people in mind and you might know who you are, so you're on my hit list. I'll be contacting you soon to see if you want to get together and do a video. So I'm looking at my notes. I'm trying to decide what to talk about next. I guess you probably want to hear about my knitting or how I got started designing. Well, I've been knitting only for about 9 years. I started when my son was born, and he's 9 now, so that's not that long in the knitting world. I know there's a lot of people that could say their grandmother taught them how to knit, or, you know, they've been knitting since they were a child, and I can't say that. I'm pretty much self-taught. I was living in Chicago, Illinois at the time, and well, in the Chicago area. We actually lived in the suburb called Aurora, and they had a free knitting class at the library, which I went to, and that's how I learned my knits and purls. And after that, I started going to the library more often. I started borrowing every book I could find on knitting, and pretty much self-taught myself everything else that I know. I've just, you know, if I don't know something, I go to YouTube, and you can usually find videos of every stitch imaginable, either online by doing a Google search or by going to YouTube. And, you know, that's how I've taught myself how to knit. So shortly after we moved to California, which was in 2008, I started teaching knitting classes, and pretty much just the basics, you know, what I was taught when I learned, knits and purls. And I went into our local craft store, Beverly's. It's kind of like a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby. And I asked them if they needed, or no, I didn't say, do you need? I said, do you have a knitting teacher? Do you have a knitting instructor here? And I guess they assumed I was looking for one, because they said, no, I'm sorry, we don't. We had one, but she left, and people come in and ask, but we don't have. And I said, well, do you need one? And that's kind of how it started. They had me come in and do a demo, show them what I could do. And I think I knit, you know, a little dishcloth or something, or, you know, showed them some knitting stitches that I knew, and they said, sure, you know, bring a table. You can bring your table in, you can set up in the shop. We can advertise, you know, that you teach knitting classes. They put flyers up in the yarn aisles. People started contacting me, and that's how I started teaching knitting. I was still learning more, you know, harder stitches on my own, but I was good at knitting and purling, and so I gave my first few classes were, you know, just the basics. But as I was learning, then I started teaching more and more, and I think the the best way to learn is to teach other people sometimes. And so it was kind of like we were learning together, although they didn't know that. If you're watching now, you're just how I got started. I mean, I thank Beverly's for getting me into teaching and perfecting my knitting skills. I mean, it was pretty much where I got my start. You know, I started buying all the books at Beverly's, the knitting books at Beverly's and pattern books, and it just kind of took off. I mean, then a lady contacted me and asked if, I guess she found my website. I had advertised that I taught knitting classes at Beverly's, and she contacted me and asked if I would be willing to do some production knitting for her. She was a designer herself, and she was looking for knitters to help her knit some items. I don't want to give too many details because we're not really in touch anymore, but she was looking for some knitters to knit for her, and these were items that she was reselling on her website. She had a little business where she was designing some accessories and then selling them, the finished product, not patterns but finished products. So I did that for a while. I knit for her. There were actually a couple of local designers that I did that for, and I started thinking, you know, maybe I could do this. I want to be the designer, right? So, and I realized, you know, when I would follow a pattern, the pattern books that I got at the library or the ones I bought from Beverly's, I started changing the stitches. You know, like I would get bored with the pattern. I would be knitting the pattern, and then I would decide to change it or do something different. And so finally I decided to just start creating my own designs. And you know, my friend Lorna, she wasn't my friend at the time. I didn't know her. This was a few years ago. I found out that she was doing a book signing at a local yarn shop, Green Planet Yarn. And so I decided to go and meet her, learn more about her, and she was a designer, right? So I wanted to just meet her and see what she was doing and how she was doing it. And so I sat through her little demo that they had, and afterwards I asked her, you know, I told her, I think I mentioned to her that I was interested in designing too, and she was so kind and sweet, and she said, you know, hang around afterwards and I'll talk to you. And pretty much that was the beginning of our friendship. I did go several months without contacting her. She had told me to contact her anytime I had questions, and I just kind of put it off and put it off. And then finally one day I said to myself, I said, you know, she offered to help, you know, guide me, and you know, I said I need to give her a call, and I did, and pretty much we've just been close ever since. She's such a sweetheart. Just kind of took me under her wing and helped me along the way, and you know, now I'm designing. It's kind of a dream come true. It's not as, you know, I'm not doing as much as I'd like to, but hopefully someday. I'm working on it. I'm getting there. I've gotten a few designs published in magazines, and I do some designing for yarn companies. So without further ado, maybe I'll go ahead and share some of my designs with you. I know you're probably interested in knitting. I don't have anything on my needles right now that I can share, because what I'm knitting right now are swatches for some designs that I've got coming out, some designs that I'm working on. So I can't really show those swatches right now, but what I can show you is some things I've already done. So let's see, what have we here? I actually have the first design I ever got published, and it was this little headband. It's a little beaded headband. I don't know if I'm trying to see how to show it on the camera, but this was called Beads and Bows, and it was published in Love of Knitting magazine. I'm pulling it up on my iPad here. So it's on Ravelry, you can see it. It was, I knit it with Prism Symphony yarn, and it was actually on the back page of the Love of Knitting magazine. The pattern wasn't actually printed in the magazine because it was a web only pattern, but they printed the they printed the picture in the magazine. So this was the picture. It was a full page. It was a full page photo that they printed in the back page, on the back page of the magazine. Trying to see. Okay. Anyway, and what I like about Love of Knitting is once a pattern's been published, after it comes out and it's been on the newsstands, after several months they actually revert the rights back to you. So if anybody's interested in this pattern, I may go ahead and post it to Ravelry. That way it would also be available for purchase. But anyway, that's Beads and Bows, made with Prism Symphony. And I just used those little clear pony beads for the beads. It's really lightweight. Another design I'd like to share with you was one that was published in the winter issue. If you've got the winter 2014 issue of Love of Knitting, this one, my flip top mitts. These flip top mitts I did for them, and I've got the sample here. They return the sample to you also after you've done a design, so that's nice. And I've got them right here. So these are my flip top mitts. Flip the top. Well, I'm not sure how you do that. There we go. Anyway, flip top mitts. And these were done with Frolicking Feet worsted by Done Roving. It's Done Roving Yarns. Yes, it's one skein Frolicking Feet worsted by Done Roving Yarns, and it's 100% superwash merino. The color was plum pudding. Yum, right? Plum pudding. And here was the photo that they did on the first page of the pattern. Okay, so that's that. And let's see here. It is getting a little easier to talk on the camera. I know the beginning I'm always just frazzled, and so I hope you guys will bear with me. I hope this gets better. I hope it gets easier as time goes. So another design I'm going to share with you. This one is actually available on newsstands right now. At least it should be. It's in the summer 2015 issue of Creative Knitting. Ah, gosh, I told you, I'm just trying to figure out right is left and left is right in the camera. Okay. And the design I'm going to share with you was also returned to me so I can show you the actual sample. But it's the South Beach neckerchief. So, so this is what it looks like. in the magazine. And then they also have it photographed, showing several different ways you could wear it. There we go. So here we go. A couple different ways you could wear it. And this was actually knit using Freya Fine Hand Paints Ombre Sport Weight. It's 100% wool. And Tina of Freya Fibers, she's amazing. She's got this such gorgeous, beautiful yarns. So Tina, if you're listening, I just want to thank you for the yarn support, and I'm so happy that we finally got one of the patterns published using your yarns. It's gorgeous. Anyway, this is the neckerchief in person. Yeah, so this is it. Let's see if I can do a full length shot here. Yes, that kind of worked. It's just a nice little shawlette. I wore it while I was at TNNA last weekend. Just perfect for spring or summer. So anyway, and this is a beautiful color, South Beach color. Thank you, Tina. So that's in the summer 2015 issue of Creative Knitting if you want to pick up a copy. It's actually available, it should be available until July the 6th. It says display until July the 6th, so hopefully you can still pick up a copy and knit one for yourself. Okay. Now, I have a couple of hat patterns that I wanted to share. These are ones that I self-published on Ravelry. Let's see here if I can pull them up. If you're not following me on Ravelry, or if you haven't friended me on Ravelry, please do so. I had to use a different screen name or username because someone else has Bay Area Knitter. And at this time they can't do anything about that, and whoever it is that's got Bay Area Knitter, they're not even using the account, which is sad, and it's just there with nothing on it. So I'm Needle to Needle, Needle, and then the number 2, Needle to Needle on Ravelry. My daughter actually thought of that name for me, so I've kind of stuck with it. And that's what I use on Ravelry, Needle to Needle. And you can find all the designs I've done. Well, not all of them. They're not all showing up on Ravelry yet, but most of the designs I've done you'll find on Ravelry. And they're listed under Christine Marie Chen Designs. So if you just type in Christine Marie Chen, which is my name, you'll find, you know, it'll take you to the page that shows all the designs I've done. And I do design, like I said, for several different yarn companies and magazines. Love of Knitting and Creative Knitting. Let's see, just to name a few, some of the patterns that I've done have been for Buffalo Wool Company, Manos del Uruguay, Bijou Basin Ranch, Red Heart Yarns, Coates and Clark, let's see, Zelana, Elemental Effects, and then, you know, all the different yarns I've used for the magazine issues, they, you know, just different companies that they've had me use. So have a look and friend me on Ravelry. I'll friend you back, I promise. And so on to the patterns I was going to share with you. There's a couple of hat patterns. One is called the Rustic Road hat. I did a little knit along, I think it was about a year ago, with several of my Instagram followers. And so you can see, if you look for Rustic Road hat, you'll find it. And yeah, so this is the actual hat that I did. Okay, just bear with me just a second here. Okay, so anyways, I used Fable Fibers. That was the yarn, Fable Fibers, and it was Biography. So yeah, cute little hat. I like to turn up the cuff, the collar, because I did make it kind of long, and it's long enough that you could turn up. So anyway, okay. So then that's Rustic Road. It's a DK weight, and I used needles 6 and 7. I think I probably used the 6 at the brim, and then I changed it to 7 as I knit the rest of the hat. And then the other hat I wanted to share with you is one that I just recently posted onto Ravelry, and it's my Falling Leaves hat. It was published in the fall issue of Love of Knitting, of the 2013 issue. So like I said, once they've been published and after several months, you know, the rights revert, so I decided to go ahead and republish it. This was the photo that was in the magazine. Beautiful model. I love her eyes, and I love how they match the hat, the color of the hat. So anyway, when I did the republish of the pattern, I had my daughter model it, and I actually used Lion Brand Amazing yarn because I love the color changes. I love the way the you can see I keep getting a glare on there. I don't want to have a glare, but anyway, I love how the color changes in that yarn. And then a friend of mine on Instagram, I hope I get her name right, Rebecca Willoughby. She goes by Squeezle, Squeezle, something like that. Anyway, she knit it with Noro. So it really looks nice in Noro as well, if you decide to do that. But this is the sample that my daughter was wearing. And this was done in the Lion Brand Amazing yarn. And you know, I love how it turned out with the different color changes, how it's striped with this design that I did. So if you want to look for that pattern, it's the Falling Leaves hat on Ravelry. Okay, so now let's see, what else do I have to share with you? Let me take a look at my notes really quick here. Those are the only finished items I had to share at the moment. There'll be more next time. But I do have something else I'm working on, and this is finally something for me. I usually have designs on the needles and usually don't have time to knit for myself, but I've been eyeing those little blankets that are made with the little mitered squares, and my friend Dawn that has the Wolf Farms podcast, she's always sharing her Scrappy Happy blanket. That's what she likes to call it. I don't know if that's actually the name of the pattern, but It's called Scrappy Happy Blanket, and so that's what I'm doing. And it's the sock yarn blanket. And what I did is, so far I've only done 2 squares because I'm trying to decide which size and which gauge I want. And as you can tell, gauge does make a difference. This one was knit on size 3 needles, and I cast on 41 stitches. Okay, that was size 3 and 41 stitches. This was size 2 needles and 31 stitches. So that's a big difference. Look at that. This one's a little tighter. This one has more drape to it. I think I do like this fabric better, and being a little bigger, it won't take as many squares either, will it? So what I used was Happy Fuzzy yarn, the purple here, it's called Lilac. I had a little mini skein that I picked up while I was at TNNA last weekend, and it's the Cory Sock by Happy Fuzzy yarn in the lilac colorway, and I just cast on 41 stitches and knit until I ran out of yarn. So then I had to decide what I was going to finish the square with. So I had a little mini skein of Miss Babs, and that's what I finished it with at the top. And this is the Sojourn fingering yarn in the Moonlight Stroll colorway. There we go. It was a little 6-yard sample I picked up also while at TNNA. Swatch me sample, so good use for that was mitered square. Then the other mitered square was also Miss Babs, this one, and I did it with the Babette colorway. So Babette, there we go. See if I can, oh my goodness. I promise I will work on figuring out how to show things a little easier. But anyway, that's that. And I'm having fun with that. I actually just joined a group on Facebook. I joined a Facebook group for swapping mini skeins. So I have a few other mini skeins I'm going to play with. These were by Willow Yarns. Quest. It's their Quest yarn. So I'll be doing some more squares with these. I also picked up this Seedling by the Fiber Seed, and this is their Arizona Dusk colorway. Arizona Dusk. 90% superwash merino and 10% nylon. The Quest yarn by Willow is 50% superwash merino, 25% bamboo, and 25% nylon. And I've been keeping them all in my little Erin Lane bag that I received at Marley Bird's designer dinner at TNNA. Thank you, Lindsay, for the Erin Lane bag that you so generously donated. Okay. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for what I was going to talk about today. I can't believe I've gone 35 minutes already, and I was just worried I wasn't going to have anything to talk about. I hope I haven't bored your ear off. Let's see if there's anything else. I don't know. I've got other topics, you know, like getting fit. I was going to talk about doing the Whole30 program, which I just finished recently. I was going to talk about my my Fitbit. If anybody else has a Fitbit and wants to join me, let me know and I'll send you an invite. I love doing the challenges. Keeps me motivated. I actually want to share our chinchilla with you coming up soon too. I was going to do that at this point. I think I'll wait until the next episode and I'll see if I can bring Chili out and have a little guest appearance with him. So for now, I guess that's going to wrap it up. I hope you're all having a great week, and this is going to be listed or posted up on my blog, bayarea.knitter.blogspot.com. Leave comments. Please leave comments in the comment section below, and below this video on YouTube, below the comments on my blog. Let me know what else you want to see, if there's any other topics you'd like me to cover. Oh, and I almost forgot. I want to do a giveaway. So, this is for those of you that do comment. So, if you comment, I'm gonna pull all of the comments together, the ones from YouTube and the ones from the blog. So, it's not gonna be one from each. It'll just be one from all comments combined, okay? Just comment and let me know what you want to see on here and what you thought of this podcast, okay? And this is what I'm going to give away. It is Cascade Yarns, Cascade 220, sport weight. Nice and squishy. Nice and squishy. And it is 100% Peruvian Highland wool. It says you can get about 22 to 24 stitches for 4 inches for your gauge. This is 164 yards, so enough to make something, a little accessory or something. And I bet it's going to have great stitch definition. It's nice and squishy. Alright, so one of you lucky viewers is going to win this. Just make sure that you leave a comment below on either the blog or YouTube, and I will draw a winner and announce the winner next week. Okay? That said, thank you for viewing, thank you for coming to watch, and I hope you'll be back. I love you guys. Bye-bye.